Hello, thank you for joining me again. And obviously, once again, I would like to talk about autism and the way that we see it in society. Anybody who's heard anything or read anything that I do will know that I think it's really important that we change the way society understands autism. I'm very passionate about doing that. But I've had a revelation, and I want to talk about that today because I was doing a presentation in a school to some parents, which was amazing, and they were wonderful. But it really, really struck me that all of their suggestions, and the same from the teachers, all of the suggestions were coming from a non-autistic, neurotypical, predominant neurotype, whichever word you're comfortable with using. It was coming from outside of an autistic perspective. And I know all autistic perspectives are different, but as we kind of explore, there are also lots of crossovers. There are some similarities in the way that we feel the world differently. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is even more important that I start to do some sort of translation guide, because they're saying things that are really well intended, but they won't work because it's not the same processing system. And so I've written this for them, but I think this would be useful maybe for anyone thinking about autism, or just people that are different. And I've called this, "You Don't Need to Try and Make Me Better." So I've written this for family and friends, for teachers and specialists, for colleagues, and for people that I meet on the bus. Often when I speak to these parents and teachers, I realise that we don't understand each other. And this is understandable because we broadcast on different wavelengths. I realised that there is so much I don't understand about brains that do not have the benefit of my autistic insight. And there is an incredible amount that they don't understand about the ways that I feel and see and hear the world. Everyone seems to want to help the child. I've been talking in schools, and that's wonderful. But if help means make them better, then I start to worry. At a previous, not the recent school, a previous school, a lady asked me when her child would be like me. And I think she meant masking, which I don't think is ideal, but I know what she meant. But I would like people to understand autism and neurodivergent ways of feeling from the inside out, because we feel and see and hear things in a different way. Different but equal. Equal but different. Sometimes I get the feeling that they are in some way sad because their child is not like them, and because they want the child's life to be like theirs. Jim Sinclair's powerful words explain this better than mine. An essay he wrote entitled "Don't Mourn For Us." And he says, "You didn't lose a child to autism. You lost a child because the child you waited for never came into existence. That isn't the fault of the autistic child who does exist, and it shouldn't be our burden. We need and deserve families who can see us and value us for ourselves, not families whose vision of us is obscured by the ghosts of children who never lived. Grieve if you must, for your own lost dreams. But don't mourn for us. We are alive, we are real, and we're here waiting for you." Of course, that makes me cry, and I hope it has the same effect on others. And of course, it is natural and essential for parents and carers to want a child to be happy and nurtured and to fulfil their potential. But if the guidelines for these things are coming from the outside in, it might be that they are not what the child needs, and in some cases might even be detrimental. In his essay, Jim Sinclair, he was a pioneer in the neurodiversity movement. He goes on to invite parents to see things differently. I'm not sure I like his suggestion of an alien in their lives, but nevertheless, I do understand what he's trying to say. And he says, after you've started that letting go, come back and look at your autistic child again and say to yourself, This is not my child that I expected and planned for. This is an alien child who landed in my life by accident. I don't know who this child is or what it will become. But I know it's a child stranded in an alien world without parents of its own kind to care for it. It needs someone to care for it, to teach it, to interpret and to advocate for it. And because this alien child happened to drop into my life, that job is mine if I want it. If that prospect excites you, then come join us in strength and determination, in hope and in joy. The adventure of a lifetime is ahead of you. Very poignant words, I think. And you can feel his passion, can't you, in the words. And the point he's making that, to quote Forrest Gump, life is indeed like a box of chocolates, and you never know what you're going to get. I want us to get to a time when we can exist side by side with all of our differences, but without the obsession with cohesion and conformity. I wonder if neurotypical minds are comforted by the idea that we are all the same and all feel the same things. I wonder if that is their security blanket. They often say that we all have that, don't we? Or, well, we're all a bit on the spectrum, aren't we? And I think that they're trying to be helpful and to make us feel better. The words are well intended. They exist as part of a group that gravitates to sameness, and I think that maybe they feel unsure, even threatened by difference. I don't want to be reassured that I'm the same. I want to be recognised for being different. Even though they are trying to help me by reassuring me that I don't look autistic, or that I need not worry because no one can tell, what they are actually doing is invalidating who I am and how I feel and see and hear the world. I'm not the same. It's not the same for me. And I would prefer people to know this. When I spoke with some parents, I heard their language and realised that they can only feel things from themselves. How can it be any other way? That is why we need to start to translate. Telling a child, or me, that it will all be okay, and that might not be helpful or comforting at all. What will be okay? What does okay mean? Telling a child, or me, that I should just calm down is certainly not helpful, no matter how kindly said, because if I could do that, then I most certainly would already have implemented that helpful strategy. I don't think I know what calm is, and I definitely don't know what calm is for you or for anyone else. So Jim Sinclair, as I said, was a pioneer in the neurodiversity movement that started raising awareness of neurodivergent ways of being. His appeal to us all is to recognise difference, and it's as powerful today as it was then. The care and attention that we give really ought to be based on what the person needs and not what we think they need. But we will only start to recognise this when we tune in to our different frequencies. I just wanted to share that with you. I had lots of thoughts about that, and I've shared it with all of the parents. The group of parents that I spoke with also very kindly said they were really moved by my words, and it did help them understand autism from the inside out and to see their children differently. So they asked me to write something. I have. I've written a book called Feeling the World Differently, and you can find it on Amazon. I know Amazon can be problematic, but if I'm going to change the world, I'm going to have to utilise the world. I don't make any money. I just would like more people to be exposed to a very short amount of words taken from my presentations that certainly seemed to help autistic people recognise themselves and neurotypical people understand more about autism. Or you can find it on my website, which is feelingtheworlddifferently.co.uk. And if you'd like to comment or you have any suggestions for something we could talk about or I could present upon, that would be absolutely wonderful. Thanks so much.